Hey guys, Tom here with another bike to test ride. This is the Triumph Speed Twin. Came out in 2019 and has been lent to me by the guys over at Laguna Motorcycles for a test ride today. Just taken it out for an hour. I'm going to do my walk around now, and then I'll show that footage and my footage going back in a second. So, interesting bike. So the original Speed Twin came out in 1937. So they've brought it back, a bit of an icon, but updated it with all the modern things you'd want from a bike. This is in the red and black. Also comes in all black, or you've got the grey and black, which I think is the one that I prefer actually. Having looked at pictures of it, but a good looking bike, very classic, I would say, quite civilized in the way it looks. But an incredible amount of power. I've just taken it out for an hour, and you know it's been a little bit intimidating for me, to be honest. Just getting used to it. So it's a 1200cc engine, same as the Thruxton, but it's lighter than the Thruxton by about 10 kilos, and you know it delivers, what is it, 110 newton meters, 112 newton meters of torque at 5,000 rpm. But there's torque all the way through the range. One thing I've struggled with, which I think is why I've been a little bit nervous on the bike to start off with, is getting used to which gear that I'm supposed to be in, because you've got so much pull away all the time. You're riding along, you're thinking, oh, what gear am I in? What gear am I in? It's not as intuitive as I'm used to. But that's just my riding style that's coming in there. What we'll do is we'll start her up so you can see how she sounds. Fortunately, as it's a Triumph again, the camera angle is not going to be as ideal, because I need to engage the clutch while I press. There we go, so good tone coming out on the exhausts there. We've got the dual exhaust either side, which look pretty cool, I think. These are the standard exhausts. They do have a Advanced and Hines option, which I've not heard, but the guy in the sales room was telling me sound particularly good. I'll give this a rev. Good sounding bike with stock. Not as good as sounding as the Scrambler that I did last week, I would say. I preferred the sound of that, but still very good. And maybe upgrade, maybe don't upgrade, up to you, I guess. Let's just turn it off. So we've then got twin dials at the front, some up here there, which give you your speed, RPM, and then you've got trip, and then you've got different modes as well for riding. The mirrors on the bar end mirrors, they're pretty cool. I like them actually. Could see absolutely fine on them, no problems at all. The seat height is 807 millimeters. I'm 6 foot tall, 33-inch inside leg, weighing about 90 kilos, I think, and you know, completely comfortable around town. Put my feet down, no problems at all there whatsoever. The tank on it is a 14.5 litre tank, and it weighs I think it's 196 kilograms dry. So yeah, 10 kilograms lighter than the Thruxton, which is apparently equivalent to 220 Big Macs, the salesman was telling me. So you know, good to know these sorts of things. We've then got at the front the we've got cartridge shocks at the front and the back. I can't remember the travel that's on them. I'll put it up on the screen, but it feels quite planted on the road. You know, you feel quite set in place, which is good. The tyres on it comes with Pirelli Rosso tyres, which take a little bit of a while to warm up, but they're good racing tyres, from what I understand. It's also got LEDs pretty much everywhere. All the lights are LEDs, apart from the front light is a halogen, but you've got a daylight running LED underneath that, which is very good. Brakes, Brembo brakes, which are good. Front brake and the back brake have both been absolutely fine while I've been riding around. I haven't had to brake excessively hard, but I've been testing them out, and they're comfortable for day-to-day riding, I'd say. Seat itself, so you've got a long seat. It's a comfortable seat. The only thing that's a bit interesting, my legs, I don't know if you noticed this if you test ride it, but my knees are sort of touching here, and I just feel there's a bit of a gap here. The seat could be just ever so slightly wider, I think. But that's just a minor thing, something that the sales guy pointed out to me, which I think it then played on my mind a little bit when I was riding. Back of the bike, obviously you'd want a tail tidy for this. I really don't like that back end at all, but apart from that, I think it looks good. It looks quite refined, I think, very classic, and a lot of fun so far. I'm just being a little bit cautious with it as I'm riding around, as you'll see in the footage that I put together, because it's just got so much power. It's the torque. It just comes straight away, whatever gear you're in. So yeah, there's 3 riding modes on this. You've got the rain mode, which is what I'm riding in at the moment. You've then got road, and then you've got sport. What rain mode does, it makes it a little bit slower, the power coming on, so it's a bit smoother for you. Apparently road mode, the sales guy was telling me, don't bother with road mode, start off with rain and then pop it up to sport if you feel that way inclined. But yeah, good bike, good looking bike. We'll now take it out on the road and do another hour or so heading back. Okay, so heading out on the Speed Twin. I'm hoping the audio works out okay for this. If not, I'll be doing a voiceover later for some of the bits, because it might get a bit noisy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ride out, I'm going to go through town, and then I'm going to head up dual carriageway, get it up to speed, and then I will bring it back through town, and then go out to the countryside and find some twisties. So first off, the seating position of this, it's pretty interesting actually. I feel like I'm very much sitting on top of a bullet. I've not been on a bike like this before. I'm bent forward, throttle's a bit twitchy. I'm in rain mode to start off with, as that's what they suggested, as they said that going in sport or road is struggling. Oh, I can't find neutral. There we go. Took a while to find neutral there. So feet are firmly planted on the ground. Feels nice. I mean, I'm still getting used to it. I feel like my head is a lot more forward than I usually am. Usually I'm obviously on a V-Strom 650 usually, so I'm quite upright in my seating position. On this, I'm bent a little bit more forward. My legs are a little bit more tucked under me, which is fine. It doesn't feel uncomfortable at all. It's just getting used to it. Nice easy power delivery there in rain mode. Just taking it easy as we get going. Yeah, seat height, I'm not sure if I mentioned it just then. Seat height is I think 807mm. The bike weighs 196 kilograms dry, I believe. So up to speed there. I'm not sure if the audio cracked at all, so I don't want to speak over it, but yeah, it's definitely got some good torque behind it. 110 Newton meters. I was hardly twisting the throttle at all, and we were getting up to speed, and it had more to go. I mean, the only reason that you probably wouldn't really want to go too much faster is because of the amount of wind that's blasting you. Obviously, preference thing. I mean, for me, it's, you know, I'm used to having a screen in front of me. It wasn't as bad as when I was on the Scrambler last week. You know, it was definitely more doable on this. However, still just a bit too much for me. I don't know. I mean, a few stretches at 70, 75. Yeah, I suppose it's doable. Though you are holding on for dear life a little bit. Well, that's how I felt. I don't know if that's because I'm nervous being on a bike that I've not been on before and I'm just getting used to it, or well, we'll see as I head back down the dual carriageway and maybe get used to it a bit more. This filter through here, filtering not a problem unless you have someone get in your way. No problems there at all getting through traffic. The tone to the exhaust, this is the standard exhaust. There is a Vance & Hines option that you can get for it, which I've heard from I've not heard it myself, but I've heard from people that it is, you know, it does sound very good and maybe worth looking at. But the exhaust on this, as it stands, it's pretty good anyway. So it's not quite as good as the Scrambler. I really like the tone on the Scrambler from last week. Oh, what are you doing that for? Thank you. The throttle is a bit twitchy in first. Let's try doing this in second. It might feel a bit more comfortable. I'm sure it'll be one of those things you get used to. It's just because it has so much power in it, and that power seems to come all the way through the rev range. I mean, I know it peaks at 112 newton meters of torque at 5,000 RPM, but oops, sorry. When I was coming down the dual carriageway, then I was testing out the pull in different gears and at different revs, you know, and it was pulling, you know, in 6th gear at, you know, 3,000 RPM. Very kind people letting me through. It's very much a real world test, this. See what it gets on UK roads. It is a Saturday lunchtime that I'm doing this. I am feet down waddling there. My Institute of Advanced Motorcyclist instructor would not be happy with my waddle that I was doing there. Should be going on the back brake, but just getting used to it. The back brake's good, the bike feels stable. I'm just being overly cautious, I suppose. Talk through some of the points of the bike. So the instrument panel, you've got the 2 dials. I quite like them actually. The TFT style screens are great, they look cool, but there's something about putting a TFT screen on what is a bit of a classic revival I'm not too sure about that. I think driver aids, yeah, put on ABS, put on traction control, you know, but I think the dials just look nice and in keeping with the look of the bike. Doesn't come with heated grips as standard. I would get those if you live in England, that is. I tend to think heated grips on everything. However, I wouldn't want to put Oxford heated grips on this. Just I don't think they'd be in keeping with the they ruin the aesthetics of it a bit, even though the Oxford ones are very good, and I have them on my bike. I'm struggling a little bit to know what gear to be in, because there's so much pull all the way that it's I'm just not sure. It's playing with my mind a little bit as I'm riding. It's easy to ride, it's going where I want it to go. I don't feel in tune with the engine just yet. I think what it is with the bike, it's trying to explain the whole feeling in tune with it, with the amount of torque and knowing what gear I'm in. Hello, little cat. Is it's my intuition, my gut instinct of what gear I'm in isn't there because of the incredible amount of torque that you have all the way through the rev range. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, I'm going to do a loop of some of the roads I've already done. Absolutely wonderful day for a ride though. Weather is fantastic. Okay, I think I'm starting to get used to it now. Third and fourth seems to be where you want to be. So yeah, just waiting for the train. Let's talk. I feel a lot more in tune with it now. I'm glad I've taken this extra little bit of time to go a bit further in my ride and do some of the roads again that I was on previously, because it just takes it's just taken me just a slight bit longer to kind of feel in line with the bike. Should we put it in? We're in sport mode. Okay, I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Oh, we'll see how that goes. My God! Whew. Okay, there is an awful lot of power in sport mode with just the slightest twist of the wrist. I have no idea what gear I'm in now. Completely out of tune with it. A second. Sounds about right. Just for some clarity about my experience, I don't really ride sport bikes, so you know, my biking experience is more adventure bikes. So no, don't pull out on me. Absolute buckets of power, and I was in third then. Oh, I don't want to take it back now. This bike now makes a lot more sense. It's weird. I found road mode, not road mode, rain mode was taking me a little while to get in tune with the bike and kind of feel comfortable on it. I don't know if it's adrenaline or what, but sticking it into sport mode, I think things just start lining up a lot more. This is not what we want. Now that we've realised what sport mode is all about and what this bike was really made for, we don't want traffic now. This is definitely it. If you take this bike out for a ride, yes, start off in raid mode, get used to it, get used to the feel of the bike, but make sure you stick it in sport mode for a little bit and see what it's like, because it is a whole different bike and everything is just coming into place on this bike now. Before, I felt more intimidated in rain mode by it than I do in sport mode. Everything's just tightened up, and the power delivery just makes, well, it's more natural in my wrist, I'm finding. I don't know what changes in sport mode and how it actually works, but it's just feeling very, very different. So, wonderful bike, wonderful bike. Got to be heading back into town now, going through the traffic, taking it back to Lagunas. Final thoughts on it. Well, I think it's clear my view on what mode you should be in. Most definitely stick it in sport mode and have a go. Absolutely bounds of torque. It feels very comfortable on the seat. I mean, I've been on the saddle for what, 2 hours ish, I would say, apart from the little break to do the walk around, and it feels absolutely fine. Yeah, really good. I feel completely different in sport mode. It's hard to put my finger on it. It just feels a lot more right, if that makes sense. Many thanks again to the team over at Lagunas. Without them I wouldn't be able to do these bike reviews. Really great bunch of guys, so if you are in the area, please do pop in and say hello, and I'm sure they'll sort you out a test ride on this if it's something you're interested in. If you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up, subscribe, maybe comment and say hello. It really does help me out. And yeah, I'll catch you for the next one. Cheers.